In this section, you're going to learn how to shoot a film on your phone. You'll use your mobile phone or your tablet device to capture the audio and the visual for the film. This is the production phase of a film. You'll store the footage you shoot on your phone, and you're also going to edit the footage that you shoot in the exercises into a finished product on your phone in the post-production phase. Workflow is the process that takes your project from beginning to end. The first is the technical, how the image gets captured to your phone, saved, edited, and delivered. The process is the same whether you're using an iOS or an Android device. What's different are the apps, but not to worry, I'll explain how to use both systems. The challenge will be the ever-changing apps, the options, the software updates, but I'm sure you're used to that. This diagram shows the technical workflow in a practical way. The second component of workflow has to do with the project management of a film. Pre-production, production, and post-production. I'd like to go into some details of what each of these phases means. Pre-production is everything you'd need to do before you start shooting. In most films, the pre-production takes even longer than the production phase. Briefly, you're preparing the script and the story, contacting participants, deciding on when and where you're going to shoot, creating lists of shots you're going to need or that you think you're going to need, and figuring out how you're going to get each of these shots. A friend of mine had a saying. I'm not sure where she got it, but the saying goes like this: plan the shoot and shoot the plan. A checklist and formatted paperwork of all the things you're going to need to know and a brief description of what to do will be available in the workbook. I'll go through this list in a moment. First, I want to promise you this one thing. The more work you put into this phase, the smoother the shoot will go and the more focused you'll be when it comes to making your project. So don't skimp on the pre-production process. From a bird's eye view, pre-production looks like this. Determine the script, figure out how much it's going to cost to make the project and the budget, amend your story to fit your budget, contact and schedule the people you want to interview, determine where you'll shoot the interviews and where you'll shoot the extra material you're going to need for your film, figure out what equipment you're going to need, and if you'll need somebody to help you. Finally, prepare your legal releases for the day. Looks like a lot of work? Well, it is. I'm going to outline a more professional workflow for pre-production. It might not be what you completely need, but I think you'll find everything that we go through will be helpful for most projects you'll want to do. It's information you'll probably want at some point. Later in this course, there'll be a section about story with a series of exercises. As you consider the film you're going to make, I encourage you to start small and simple. You'll go through story exercises to help clarify what you're going to say and turn scripts into real production plans that will be part of this pre-production process. The script looks like this. It's basically a spreadsheet with a list of visuals and audio to help you focus the message you want to communicate. This is not an exhaustive budget by any means, nor will you have to fill out every column. But it gives you a realistic plan and helps you think of details you might otherwise forget. Note how the budget's broken down into pre-production, production, and post-production costs. Don't forget details like taxes and realistic operational costs, such as what it might cost you to travel to shoot your film. This workshop focuses on you using your mobile devices. But there are a couple of things I want to encourage you to invest in to make your videos look more professional, such as an inexpensive tripod and a cradle to hold your phone. The next level of filmmaking would include buying better audio equipment and some lighting. But let's take one step at a time. Pre-production is the time to determine and organize the video equipment you're going to need. In a larger documentary crew, you might have a camera person, a sound person, a lighting person, a producer, a production assistant, editors, sound editors, and the list goes on and on. But realistically, your crew is going to be just you, and maybe a helper if you're lucky. It's important that you have a source where you can collect all this information about the people you're interviewing. This includes their phone numbers, addresses, and some information to remind you who they are and why they're important to your video. A release is simply an agreement that your participants sign to allow their images, their audio, and their content to be in your video. These legal documents protect you if someone decides they want to take legal action against you because they don't like what they've said on film, they do not like the way that you have portrayed them on film, or they think that you're making some money from the film and they see this as an opportunity. We want to expect the best of people, but it's your professional obligation to protect yourself and your organization. This release includes people, places, and properties such as art and music. Have a participant sign it before you start filming. One of the biggest aspects of project management is keeping your project on track. A schedule helps list your interviewees and your locations to ensure that you get everything that you need. There are a lot of details to consider during pre-production. If done thoroughly, you'll reap the rewards in the production phase because things will go a lot more smoothly. Not perfect, but better. The production phase is pretty straightforward. This is the period where you acquire the assets you need for your film. Essentially, you do all the shooting. What are you collecting? Interviews is the most obvious thing. You want to see and hear what people have to contribute for your film. The second detail is to shoot B-roll. These are visuals that you want to use that go along with the interviews. B-roll helps demonstrate what your interviewees are saying. They show the event and they follow the process. They keep your film visually interesting. But production is not only visual, it's also sound recording. What audio do you need for your film? These include speeches, events, people and crowds, location, sound, and music. As you continue developing your skills telling stories with video, you'll come up with creative ideas for using audio. But for now, keep it simple. After you've done all the shooting, you move into the post-production phase. Here's where you edit all the audio and the visuals into the story to distribute for your audience. Because we're learning the mobile workflow for making videos, the device you use to shoot your video will also serve as the device you use to edit your content. You're going to bring these video clips stored in your photo apps into an editing app. But what editing app to use? I'll demonstrate that and some of the most popular and commonly used apps for iOS and Android. But there are so many options that basically function in the same way. You're going to have to do some experimenting to find what works best for you. But to start, keep your edits simple. Cut in the interviews, add some B-roll, add a music track, and add graphics to introduce and conclude your video, identifying people during the film. Use your script as a map to help construct your edits. But don't feel you have to follow it exactly. When you're done, there'll be a setting in the app that lets you export your finished film back to a number of sources, including popular social media sites and to your photo app in your device. Then what? Then you make another video following the same process. Next, I want to talk more specifically about what devices to use and how to start shooting with your mobile phone.